Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Well, a happy and a chilly Veterans Day morning to you this. Geez, the time is flying, right? Here we are, November 12th, or November 11th, 2025. Seth Harp sliding in for the QB this morning. Good to talk with you again, Buddy Martin. Going to be entering stage right here momentarily as we were proud to bring you this Veterans Day edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning, coming to you from the International Diamond Center studios, locations across the state of Florida, and right here, Celebration Point in the heart of Gator Nation. Also, numerous ways you want to talk to Buddy, you want to talk to myself, you can do so today. Facebook Live, courtesy of Meldon Law, the only official law and accident firm partner of the Florida Gators. YouTube can fire us up via YouTube as well. YouTube Live questions, courtesy of Quality Plumbing, residential and commercial plumbing services and emergency repairs since 1984. Name says it all. And also via the text line, Titan MRI, that's 352-353-7465. That's 352-353-7465. Got to thank Batesy for that open as always. Buddy, I wish, it's been a couple months, actually it's been probably 6 months since you and I did this together. I wish it were on happier terms. I wish we were discussing if there was a scenario in which the Florida Gators could, peek around the corner and peer into this sucker like the Oklahoma Sooners face. But alas, that's not it. What we have now is a conga line of coaches that continue to be bantered about. And after last weekend, any thought, even though it was minuscule, that an interim coach could work their way into a head coaching slot a la Dabo Sweeney did back in the day. I can't believe that now, 17, 18 years ago, behind Tommy Bowden at Clemson, is not going to happen. I know that, Shane, you guys have talked about this ad nauseum, that the debate at the beginning of this cycle when all these were broke loose was a question of whether or not LSU or Florida was the better job in the SEC. Auburn has now entered that mix as well. That is not up for debate anymore with LSU's governor's little song and dance that he put, LSU's governor, Louisiana's governor, and the song and dance that he put on. Buddy, here we are, and we continue to hear numbers. We continue to talk. And this speculation is going to run all the way through Thanksgiving, if not later, if Ole Miss makes the playoffs. So on this Veterans Day, any new earworms, any new buzz, any new excitement, or are we still on this cavalcade of chaos?
Well, first of all, good to be with you again. Like you said, not the best conditions given the grieving going on and among Gator Nation. It was one of the toughest Saturdays I can recall in my many, many years, which are considerable as a following the Gators. And I know the pain is out there. So my heart goes out to the brokenhearted Gator fans. Now, there are many. I don't have any answers on the coaching conga line, is that what you call it at this point in time? Yeah, I would say that the best advice I can give people today came from my grandma, who said a watched pot never boils. Okay, so this is going to be a while, I think, because I think Mississippi is going to be in the heart of things, and if they are, then their coach can't answer questions or whatever. Despite the rumors and the whispers and the people who are in the know saying, Shane among them, he thinks that the coach is going to be Lane Kiffin. Others I know, one who is deep inside, not named Steve Spurrier, believes he said, well, he didn't think Lane Kiffin was going to take the job. And I'm one of those who didn't either. And now he's changed. He thinks he will. So, it's like reading the tea leaves or the fortune cookies or whatever. I don't know it's the best answer. I suggest Gator fans hunker down, try to learn to get another team to watch. I don't care, no, none to be Georgia, could be anybody. Follow them during the playoffs because Florida won't be there. They've got 3 games left and very likely will lose at least 2, if not all of them, which will be a tough day. It already is. And so we're in this together. Watch pot never boil. So do something else. Do something else. I recommend
watch pot never boil. So do something else.
I'm hearing myself.
Do something else.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I had a little feedback there for a second. It's one of these things that, glass half full, glass half empty. It's empty. And, you thought maybe with the Georgia game, building a little momentum, having a chance, having them on the ropes, a play or two here goes your way in the fourth quarter, you knock off Georgia and probably knock them out of the college football playoff. And then here you go on the road to Kentucky, and it just didn't happen. And, buddy, I am getting older. I'm in my mid-40s now, but I'm old enough to remember that was such a one-sided series that we laughed about it. It was a question of pick your score. And now it's turned into something. What has Kentucky won, if I'm not mistaken? 5 of the last 8, is that right? 4 of the last 7?
Have they won the last 5? I don't know.
Yeah,
But,
whatever the crazy number is now.
6. Yeah, it's crazy. And we're talking Kentucky. We're not talking Georgia, Alabama.
Yeah.
We're talking Kentucky,
Yeah.
who has been a patsy for Florida for a long, long, long time. And I got to give them credit. They were ready. Their quarterback, I saw him in the interview last night. He's a small town boy who's just happy to be at UK and loving life as a Wildcat quarterback. And he played great. And Kentucky played great physically. They dominated. I mean, it was a butt whooping. What else can you say? They got their butts kicked. And I don't know why. We can sit here and point here and there, and there are many people who could take the blame. I mean, the players ultimately have to be the ones that take it because they're the ones who couldn't execute it. The coaches have taken theirs, and Billy Gonzalez's press conference yesterday, he took the blame, said it's all on me. Now, you can blame it on the fans, blame it on the administration, got no president. I mean, on ad infinitum. There are reasons why this happened. It wasn't just a loss. It was a total collapse. A monumental proportions a la like Nebraska or Georgia. Just absolutely total crumble. It's like I said this morning, it's like Humpty Dumpty now. How do you put the pieces together again after this? I don't know the answer to that. I just know a lot of unhappy Gators, and there's change was imminent and change is more imminent. There are some people I know who've been following the program a long time who said, wipe the slate clean. Get rid of them all, including the athletic director. That's pretty harsh. Somebody has to bleed you through that. But, I mean, that's how mad Gator fans. And you know what? They're not going to open up their wallets for NIL because they don't like what they see, and they have every right to do that. That's the unfortunate part about the NIL. If they don't like what they're playing, they ain't going to pay.
Yeah, and I guess speaking of NIL and where we sit with this financially, buddy, what on earth do you do? And I know he's returning, right? And that was one of the big things I wanted to ask you about today was DJ Lagway, where he gets benched. He's coming back. He's got money. He's for 5 years now, 4 years now. I remember being in the newsroom when it broke that he was verbally committing here, and he was all in, 100%, wasn't going to go anywhere else. And then there was talk with, oh my gosh, could he get pried away? He's a Gator for life, no matter what. To this, it turns to the fan base wanting to bench him. Then it turns to, well, we got to make him happy. Maybe Billy leaving and Lane, an offensive-minded coach that comes in that's completely X's and O's, can save him. What would you consider the relationship right now between DJ Lagway? It's like a holy trinity, right? DJ Lagway, the athletic department at the University of Florida, and the fan base. How do you look at that right now, buddy?
Well, Shane said this multiple times, and he's right. He likes Lagway, but he says there's other quarterbacks out there. If you look around and see who is there, look at the ones who are having. I mean, Marcel, look at that. Look at the line. I made a list last night of quarterbacks and coaches that we didn't see coming. I mean, like I said, how the mighty have fallen. We all look like dupes and Pollyannas and fools right now because we thought We had a guy
coaches
who
that
won a
we didn't see
Heisman
coming.
trophy. So
I mean, like I said,
So I don't know what we got going on there. But anyway, so I was thinking about today, and I was thinking about the I guess you call it allegories or whatever. I'd say, all right, so we got lost worse than Hansel and
today,
Gretel.
and I said I was thinking about the I guess you call it allegories or whatever. I'd say, all right, so we got lost worse than
I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, so it's the big bad wolf. We're getting eaten up there. Anyway, the point is, it looks like a Humpty Dumpty landscape. As I wrote Saturday night, that thud you heard was a Florida football program hitting rock bottom. Rock bottom.
I was going to ask you, of course we had, at least I look back on things and, recent history, of course, Ron Zook had his, okay, that's it moment, right? I remember the Muschamp game in which Georgia was a heavy favorite. They come in, they dominate. Florida dominates, right? Like 300 yards rushing or whatever it was. And then he's going to be let go anyway. Then the next week, the proverbial hammer drops. And then we, of course, had the Jim McElwain moment in which, the death threats and that chaos in Jacksonville, him walking off the field, smiling with his wife. That was the end of that. Billy kind of had those moments when he was getting booed after a win. We all have these seminal moments that I don't want to say are the low points in the history of the program, because I can't testify to that like you can, having been there and seen all of them, right? I've seen them on TV, but I wasn't in the crowd for the Zook moment. I was in the crowd for the McElwain moment, the Mullen moments.
Mhm.
Obviously, I remember sitting up at the studio after that Missouri game and everybody just losing their mind. So you say this has hit rock bottom now at this point. The other ones that I point to, the head coach was still there. This is an interim coach that fire him. Okay, you fire him, and now you get this result. It's unfortunate for the seniors that it craters this way. I guess at this point, the worse this team performs down the stretch, does that put, extra commas in Lane Kiffin's bank account? The more this team struggles, or does that hurt? If this team really drops the ball and the fan base loses their mind and really starts to attack everybody, Florida State, let's say Florida State wins by 3 touchdowns, then at that point, does that scare off coaches? I know, again, as we've mentioned this, the governor at Louisiana did a good enough job of scaring every credible coach in the history of humanity away from that job.
I wouldn't want that job.
I'd rather take the Virginia Tech job than I never thought I'd say this, buddy, but the Virginia Tech job is a more stable job than LSU by far. That's just pure cake. Why would you want to touch that?
Speaking of which, by the way, Brian Kelly's filed a lawsuit.
Yeah, I saw that.
Let's just add one more little thing to it already. A terrible situation.
Yeah.
He seeks confirmation that the school fired him without cause. He's owed his full buyout of $54 million. So, that's what the paper is reporting out there in Baton Rouge. And they're going to have to pay him. They're going to have to pay him. If you think you're going to play games, you committed that money, and Brian Kelly's not going to give you a penny off or no discount. So he's angry, and I understand why. Certainly the athletic director, who's now fired, thankfully, talk about a bad mistake. $129 million bailout. Is that what it was? The final number on that. And so he says he was not formally terminated as football coach.
Yeah.
And now the school seeks to fire him because he wants that money.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But
I didn't even think about the layer of icing that puts on that mud pie, cow pie, souffle. That, okay, you're fired. We owe you $53 million, but how about this? We only pay
take 30. How about taking 30?
We only pay half, all right? Why don't you do the right thing and give us half of that back?
Yeah.
With Brian Kelly, you look around and go, wait a second, man, go sit on a snake. I'm not doing anything.
No.
Yeah, why would I do that? Then again, if you're another coach looking at the outside, looking in, going, wait a second, he signed a contract, you fired him in the middle of the year, right or wrong, you fired him, you owe him the money. I look at this situation and has struggled as Florida has. again, it's one of those things that I look at this point and I just look at the numbers as you were mentioning earlier, and the sheer buyout numbers. LSU's going to be tight pinch. So, we can talk about Kip until our head explodes. But no matter who you want, I do think, buddy, you would probably and I agree on this. Florida fans, Gator fans aren't going to settle unless it's a Power 5 coach coming.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to take I don't think you're going to take a group of 5, or they call it now. No more Sunbelt bellies. I mean, that's a pejorative term, and I get it. I mean, he earned that. Unfortunately, I hate that for him. But the fact is, that's on him. He was the coach. They played terrible. They've already deemed him the worst coach in Florida history. And now the numbers show it. 4 straight losing season. It's just a disaster. So here's what I recommend. Chill. Go see a movie. It's holidays, right? Take a trip for the holidays. Read a book. I've got one here. Look, this right here. This is Lane Kiffin's favorite book that he quotes a lot, by a guy you'd never suspect he would follow. It's meditation. This is the complete opposite lifestyle that Lane has lived. Maybe that's good for him. But anyway, so I bought it to see. I'm just reading it, scanning it. He quotes from it almost every day. Or I got a better deal. Get a new copy of the basketball book written by our own Franz Beard. We announced it last night. We're coming to a neighborhood to you soon, if I may mention the book. The goal is you go to email the Golden Season Book at gmail.com and find out the details. But that book is out. It's a step-by-step of everything the Florida basketball team did on its way to the national championship, completely with 40-some pictures illustrated by our great photographer, Chris Spurrier. So read a book, do something, because it's going to be a while. And remember, like Grandma said, a watched pot never boils.
Good line. I like that. Couple of things rolling in via the Titan MRI hotline and Facebook Live, courtesy of Meldon Law. Cheryl Fetcher writes in, this is a new development for me too, buddy. Your reading glasses, so my apologies. Agree, buddy. Couldn't agree more. Clean house from the top to bottom. Buck writes in, yeah, buddy, we quit Saturday night flat out. Greg also firing in, hey, can we fire an interim coach?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
We owe him a bunch of money. We don't owe him a bunch of money. Blame me. Can we get a guy that will be honest with the fans? This is what happens when you fire somebody, though. The cupboard never is better, right? That's why the whole mindset of bench the QB. Boy, I don't know if there's not very many Felipe Franks, Kyle Trasks waiting in the wings situations. It just does not occur. PodUp with Matthews in the morning, brought to you in part by Comfort Temp Heating and Air, your number one local HVAC company. Professional and experienced technicians keep you informed throughout the entire project. Visit them at comforttemp.com. Comfort Temp Heating and Air. Comfort is their business. Peace of mind is the promise. Also, courtesy of Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance, dedicated insurance professionals, ready to help you fight life and go in the right direction, or handle the things, help you fight the fights in life. The best insurance options for you and your family. Give them a call, 352-240-1779. That's 352-240-1779. Check them out at ograinsurance.com. That's OGRA insurance.com. I want to ask you this too, man, because, we could talk coaching searches until our heads explode, until the cows come home. Pardon the cliche. We are in the midst of a college football playoff discussion again, because we pretty much, to this point, understand that A&M, Ohio State, and Indiana are probably going to make it. Indiana almost laid a late egg last weekend. I do think if I had to pick right now, I'm okay with Ohio State being one. I'm okay with A&M being number one right now. A&M probably has the more impressive wins, including a win in South Bend at night early in the year. I think Indiana has to be number three any way you slice it. But after that, I mean, Alabama, Georgia, and then, of course, Georgia, Texas, a monster game this weekend. Oklahoma stunned Alabama last weekend. We had Oklahoma and Alabama coming up. So your one Big 12 for the artist formerly known as the Big 12 powers, right, buddy?
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma and Texas completely dropping a grenade on this sucker this weekend if both of them are somehow able to win. How do you, and then Notre Dame's going to have their hands full at Pitt too. So when you look at this, it's been kind of calm, right? I mean, we've seen wins here, but we haven't seen massive, oh my God, what's going to happen in the top 10 for about a month. About a month ago, we saw a gigantic, shake up, a schism. When you see this, who do you see in that top 10 that you consider to be vulnerable? And buddy, who do you see in that next slot, that 10 to 20 that's kind of peeking around the corner going, hey, we want a piece of this? Like maybe last year, like a Clemson came out of nowhere and came up and took it.
Well, it's too early to tell, believe it or not, because this is November now, and this is where things get decided, including the Heisman Trophy, which now is becoming evident. Now the guys we thought might be there aren't going to be there, and the ones we didn't are suddenly popping up. I mean, I love Diego Pavia. I hope he gets a chance to go to New York. He deserves it. I'm not sure his team can get there. They could with some wins, but I don't know. Could a team go 10-2 and not make it? I guess they could. I'm rooting for Vanderbilt a little bit in that regard. I want to see them do well. And as I said earlier, get a team to root for. I'm rooting for Vanderbilt. I don't have a particular team. Georgia keeps winning.
Yeah.
There's a dangerous team where they find ways to come back and win. They couldn't. They had no trouble with Texas last year, right? So I'm not. I mean, Texas A&M is everything. That's everything. I think A&M is a team that I think that deserves to be there in the playoffs. I think they've done a wonderful job. The coaching stories that we've heard about coaches coaching high school ball 3 years ago, now in the middle of the playoffs, crazy stuff is just happening. That's the volatility of this new era of NIL. Shane says all the time, let them all go. There's plenty of quarterbacks, plenty of guys out there. There's plenty of coaches. I mean, I'm not as confident as he is, but he seems to think you can get a quarterback and you can get him in the right system. We never have got DJ's footwork right. That's a whole other story. Too late, as Shane says now, to fix that. This situation for him is now, is he going to be able to get well? And I talked to Dr. Pete Delicato last night about some things, or whether it's a good thing to go ahead and have the surgery or whatever. That's a tough call. But back to your point. Right now, I think A&M is a sweetheart of the dance. I really like your opportunities. I've not been a Texas fan. I'm not a big, although he's a great play caller, I'm not a big fan of their coach. Probably somebody out there we don't see. I mean, who thought we'd have this late in the season, two Big Ten teams leading in the polls, until tonight, that's what it is. So there's so much different now. It's just hard to know. And I can't answer any questions because I just make a fool of myself. I don't know. It's November. As they say in pool, the game is still on the table, and we'll see what happens. But maybe this will be the football. And by the way, the SEC cannibalism hasn't exactly helped them because until lately they hadn't even recognized strength of schedule. So we'll see how that plays out. This is November. The SEC teams are all lined up. There's some good teams out there, probably not in the SEC, that we're going to hear about, but it will make it exciting, just not for Gator fans.
Yeah, one thing that I think is interesting too is if Oklahoma and Texas were to win, is that better for the SEC? Does that shove more? Because I don't see Alabama or Georgia falling outside of the top 12. Does that, especially with where we sit with what the ACC is going to be a one-bid conference. Let's not kid ourselves. The Big 12 is going to be a one-bid conference as well. The Big 10 going to get what? I mean, Indiana, Ohio State, 2, right?
Maybe 3. We'll see.
USC does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oregon.
Oregon.
Although they look sloppy and
they've been beaten twice already. They've been disappointing. But somebody will emerge we haven't talked about today, and that's really kind of what you want in your football season. You want surprises. You want people to come into players to pop up, and you want coaches to pop up, and you want teams to pop up. This is what makes it exciting, despite the NIL pall that's cast over the programs and college football right now. There's still a great game. There's still things to be decided, and the game is still on the table. And here it is, November. We're going to hang on to your hat for the next 3 weeks.
He is Buddy Martin. I am Seth Harp. This is PodUp with Matthews in the morning with you here on this Veterans Day. Thank you to all those that have served in every branch. Freedom comes at a price, and you laid yours at the altar of it so we could have the rights that we have. And it's one of those days that where I work, we are off today. And I think everyone should be off today. It's one of those days that is a solemn reminder, at least it should be, of all of those that gave so much so the few of us can have the life that we have. And everybody that is listening that served, everybody that's a part of this program that served, we tip our hat to you and everything that you've done for us so we can live the life that we live.
Right. You don't know, Seth, excuse me for interrupting, if you had anybody in your family who was a veteran. My father did not serve. He was 4F. He had ulcers and whatever. I had no uncles. I mean, I had no other people in my family, but one uncle. And I always think of Uncle Harry from Bradenton, Florida, who was a great person. And he fought in Normandy.
Yeah.
And back in those days, they didn't have TV covering wars. The way you got to follow the wars was you go to the movies and you saw movie tone news. And Harry was shot his leg, and he came home. And about a month later, he was in a movie in Bradenton, and he saw himself on the movie screen walking next to a tank in Normandy. Harry was a wonderful person. He was turned out to be a famous Santa Claus down there who every year dressed up like Santa, gave candy, paid out of his own pocket for expensive electric bills to have lights and kids lined up for blocks and blocks and blocks. Their mamas and daddies would come around his house so he could give them candy. They could sit up on his lap with that sore knee, and he could love on them, and just a great man. And I think of on Veterans Day, there are many of you out there, but I'll think of Uncle Harry again.
Absolutely. PodUp with Matthews in the morning, courtesy of Florida Cracker. Is the brand for original Floridians. The Florida Cracker Kitchen, great food and Southern hospitality in the center of the universe. Brooksville, Florida, of course. Check it out, floridacracker.com. Also, Atlantic Roofing, your roofing experts for residential and commercial roofing with more than 50 years of local experience. I know we're running out of time here, buddy. Just something before I know Ryan Urquhart, one of the great young voice of the Gators coming in, covering a lot of Gator sports now in that arsenal, going to join us here for the second half. Buddy, just a little fun. I want to always give you a little fun fact and see if this year will be any different, all right?
Okay.
I went back through and looked at a little history here. We were talking about Heisman Trophy earlier. 1965, Heisman Trophy winner, USC. 1975, Heisman Trophy winner, Archie Griffin, running back. 1985, Heisman Trophy winner, running back, Auburn. 1995, Heisman Trophy winner, running back, Eddie George, Ohio State. 2005, Heisman Trophy winner, running back, USC, Reggie Bush. 2015, Heisman Trophy winner, Derrick Henry, running back, Alabama. So in years ending with 5 for the last 7 decades, we have had a Heisman Trophy winner at the running back position. It's been a while since we had one at the running back position. The only one that jumps off the page to me is Jeremiah Love, Notre Dame's running back that's second in the nation, but he got like 15 touchdowns, 1,000 yards rushing. Do you see any way that trend holds up where a Heisman Trophy winner comes out of the backfield, the running backfield this year? Any shot?
I think if it's not a quarterback, it would be Jeremiah, the other Jeremiah at Ohio State, wide receiver. And I think he's a fantastic. We just haven't seen him much because someone said that when you're ahead 48-0, you don't get a chance to catch any balls. But he's an incredible. Jeremiah's an incredible player, I guess. I've not seen that much, but I think it will come down to a quarterback in the end, depending on what happens late. We, as a Heisman Trophy voter, we always wait to see what's going to happen in the playoffs. The quarterback, what should be Diego, who has the big game, will probably win the Heisman. I think a quarterback more than likely. It could be different, but I think it's going to be a QB.
Yeah, you can have 3 of the, you can have a quarterback, receiver, quarterback if Ohio State plays Indiana
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that's going to hurt Jeremiah Love.
Menendez must be a hell of a player, is all I got to say. I saw his last drive, but I mean, he's something. Here again, there's an example. Who had him on their list? I didn't.
Yeah, dude, he does. He reminds me of Caleb Williams. I mean, it's not the same, but the delivery and the upright mobility. Yeah. So there we go. Buddy Martin with us here. You can check out everything, of course, at GatorBaitMedia.com, buddy.
You got it.
On the site. Really quick before we let you go, what you got coming up?
Tonight, Lauren Meadows hosts my show. He and my guys, Lauren with his team, he every Tuesday night, and we got some good shows coming up this week. Sorting out these non-unknown players who are now suddenly in the spotlight. My show's on 9:00 Eastern, Monday through Friday, and sometimes on Tuesday.
There you go, Buddy Martin with us here on this Veterans Day edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning, Buddy. As always, I know it's been way too long since you and I did one of these. I said 6 months. I think it's probably more like a year. But thanks so much. I appreciate you spending a half hour with me here this morning.
You bet. My pleasure.
Enjoy this 11th day of November. We appreciate it, and take care.
Love the shirt. See ya.
Right, thank you very much. Coming up next, Ryan Urquhart, one of the Arsenals and the voice of the Gators, going to swing by to talk about all things Gators sports and start to peer ahead into the winter months as volleyball really starts to heat up, but women's basketball and softball around the corner as basketball takes flight as well. Again, you're listening to this Veterans Day edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning.
Our premium sponsors are Atlantic Roofing, Campus USA Credit Union, International Diamond Center, J.F. Hayden's Craft Liqueurs, Los Landeros Tequila, Meldon Law, Titan MRI and Imaging, UF Health Orthopedics. Our gridiron sponsors are Baker's Sports, Comfort Temp, Electronics World, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Florida Victorious, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, McDonald's of Gainesville, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Advocare, and MG&A Wealth. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. And if you want to advertise, give my man Freddie a call at 352-284-3733.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
The jewelry store with the most likes, the most positive reviews, the most raving fans is International Diamond Center.
IDC is definitely a place that I will come to as long as I live here. This will be my go-to place always.
Literally the best jewelry store in town. You'll make friends for life coming in here. I felt like family from the beginning. The value was extraordinary.
I've got a beautiful diamond on my finger, and I'm very proud of it.
International Diamond Center.
I'm very happy to show it off.
At Celebration Point and online at shopidc.com.
We journey on this Veterans Day edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning. Seth Harp in for Shane Matthews. Got to thank Buddy Martin for kicking off the show with us today. Also, as we continue to journey on here, got to welcome everybody back in to the International Diamond Center Studios, locations across the state of Florida and Celebration Point in the heart of Gator Nation. So there we go. Meldon Law, you want to hit us up via Facebook Live. That's what you do. Official injury and accident law firm partner of the Florida Gators. YouTube questions, courtesy of Quality Plumbing, residential, commercial plumbing services, and emergency repair. Since 1984, their name says it all. Excuse me. Still getting over this a little bit. And text line, courtesy of Titan MRI. Question, fire us up. Let it go. Titan MRI image text line. Titan MRI hotlines. We're going to go for Ryan Urquhart, 352-353-7465. That's 352-353-7465. I know it's been a while since you and I chatted, at least, especially in a forum like this. I know you have an elevated role inside of the Gator athletic program right now, Ryan. Well deserved, well earned.
Thank you.
I can
Thank
think
you.
of nobody more that deserved it and earned it. I'm glad that they stayed in house. And your bouquet has grown with everything that you're covering now. Let's start off with the generic, easy, I'm a lazy reporter question. How you liking it?
I love it. It's a dream come true to do this job. As you know, anytime you get to be in sports media, it doesn't feel like a job, but this is one of those that's surreal. Like a good example is the other night doing men's basketball for the first time. I was talking to Mark Wise after the game, and I said, man, this is one of those pinch yourself kind of days, because it was crazy to, one day you're sleeping on the concrete outside of the O'Connell Center to just be in the Rowdies for a game against Kentucky. And then, the next year, 2 feet forward, actually calling the game on SEC Plus. And that was a really cool experience. And it's been great to take a bigger role and be really more involved with these teams. Before, as you know, I was a fill-in. I was pretty involved with softball, but soccer and women's basketball, getting to really be a part of these programs and get more in depth and cover their stories. And, looking forward to traveling with women's basketball this year and doing all those things. It's been an absolute blast. And then to still be able to maintain some other stuff has been awesome.
Yeah, I always try to liken it and with what the job you did and Sky did and everybody up and down the ladder when Kyle left. I sat there and go, okay, well, Ryan gets to go from that third down sack specialist to Chris Jones. So
Exactly.
It's exactly how
it's an apt analogy. Yeah.
There you go. So feel free to say that you're the Chris Jones of the Gator play-by-play department, courtesy of
I'm gonna start listing that. That'll be the first bullet point on my resume.
Like that. Okay. So here we are. I know that there's a lot out there on the docket. Buddy and I went over, the Gator coaching search. It did nauseum here. And it's one of those things that it's a wait and see thing. And if, it sounds like it's Lane's if he wants it. If Ole Miss plays in the SEC championship game somehow and Ole Miss goes on to win a national title, you're not going to crack at him until late January, mid-January.
Yeah.
So that's everything else is laying out. I think that I've said this and I'll say it again. The governor of Louisiana did the state of Florida and every Gator fan a gigantic favor by coming out and having diarrhea of the mouth, basically making it the least desirable coaching position in the world. I mean, Dan Mullen is in a better spot at UNLV than the next head coach is at LSU. So that just look, and I'm in politics, and I don't think politics should be anywhere near sports, Ryan. So, especially in that setting. But other than that, Brian Kelly filing a lawsuit. I know it's kind of one of those things that I want to get your thoughts on this, where you fire a coach. He's owed $53 million buyout, and you're like, we're not going to pay you. How about you take $20 million? You're like, no. How about you take $25 million? Nah. All right. Well, we're not going to pay you. I'm not asking that you necessarily come. Can you think of any other instance in sports where you fire a coach, he's got a buyout, and you're like, Brian, it'd be like, I'm going to buy your house. Well, it's for sale for $200,000. Right. How would you like 60?
What's funny is I think we're watching in real time college athletics continue to wrestle with this evolution it's going through, with the shifts in how money is spent. And, for instance, with the requirement to pay their student athletes to continue building facilities and also manage coaching buyouts, where you have the pressure to go out and make the big swing hire. But if that doesn't work out, oftentimes you're put in a really tough position, like I think they are. I would speculate, at least. And I think ultimately college athletics is going through a lot of growing pains and a lot of evolution. And I feel like that situation perfectly encapsulates it, where, LSU's probably looking at their bottom line like, if there's any way we can conserve some money here, that's more resources for the next guy. That's more everything for whoever takes that job next. Uh, and then you start having all these other externalities where the governor gets involved and things like that. So it's really interesting to watch this unfold, because I don't blame Brian Kelly's camp for just kind of shrugging his shoulders and being like, no, it's in the contract.
Yeah.
But I think that's all. It'll be really interesting to see how it all kind of unravels, especially in the middle of a coaching search where you're also trying to ensure the next guy, hey, no, we'll actually come through on what we owe you too. So it's like that's a weird balance.
Yeah, it's like we're again. I'm going to use the selling a house analogy. It's like, all right, we're going to sell the house, but we're going to let the dog crap all over the carpet and burn a bunch of stuff in the kitchen and not paint anything. Isn't it beautiful? Isn't this house beautiful? It's like, yeah, you're going to show this to us. You're showing us all the blocks and scars.
It's funny. So the place I'm in right now, I did buy it, and the funny thing is, like, every single time I feel like every week there's a new thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like I'm going through exactly that a little bit. Maybe I'm in a contract negotiation where it's like the dryer knob falls off. And I'm just like, yeah, sure, I'll use my son to do that. That's fine.
What's that button for? Oh, it's for nothing. I had one of those I was like, what's that light switch turn on? It must turn on that mythical garbage disposal that doesn't connect.
Why is it on the second floor? Yeah.
What's going on here? No, but it's and I bring this up for this point because it also just reminds me, and it's an old episode of The Simpsons where they're booing Mr. Burns, and they're like, they're not saying boo, they're saying boo earns. That's what LSU's treating its fan base like. Yes, we're beautiful, we're beautiful. We're gonna try to hose him over. It just feels like the grown-ups aren't in charge. And is all the knocks that Florida gets at times, okay, Florida pulled the plug on Billy. They've held this tight-knit group here. They put things in place. And when Florida removed Billy, it almost seemed like they were getting this criticism for what they did. Penn State bockled that thing when you're a down away from playing for the national title and your guy has a bad month and you fire him. Come on. That's one of those.
Right.
I look around at different jobs. You look at Billy at Florida, and he had a full 5 years or 4+ to figure it out. It didn't work out. It made sense. Penn State didn't make sense. LSU now is just a catastrophe. Virginia Tech's nice, but Virginia Tech is the Air Maxes to the Air Jordans. It's nice, but it's not the elite. And Auburn, yeah, good luck with whatever that is right now, because that's just a mess. And I sat here and would have told you, Ryan, and I know we'll move on from this now, that at the beginning of this, if you laid all these jobs out on the table, I'd have gone just because of money, but money. Penn State would have been one because of the Big Ten $100 million a year purse that they get and bigger boosters. It's still big money. And then I'd have probably gone LSU too, just because of money. Not now. Florida's the best job of all these because of the chaos in the athletic departments and just Florida doesn't feel slimy where the other ones feel slimy. That's just how it looks. Okay. Other than that, college football playoff. Let's go ahead and do this. And I'm going to ask you a couple of questions with Gator women's basketball and softball as we peek around the horizon. Right now, the way I look at it, I'm okay. Ohio State 1, A&M 2. I think Indiana needs to fall to 3. Those are the 3 undefeated teams, right? Those are the 3 teams that we look at. Who do you see out there, Ryan? You watch football. Who do you see?
Love it. Yeah.
You
love college football. For me,
that's gonna
get
up there.
I'm gonna push back a little bit. I actually really like Indiana. I'm someone who I was on the Indiana train last year, and I'll just say, like, they gave Notre Dame a good run, and they went all the way to the final or to the national championship. I think Texas A&M is the real deal. Like, if you said today, it's probably going to be A&M and Bama in the SEC championship. I do think A&M is slightly better, but I'm not sure. Ty Simpson's really good, but like Marcel Reed is otherworldly too. Ole Miss, Georgia, like, they're safe. To me, I'm really curious to see what happens with Texas Tech. First of all, let them throw the tortillas. That was a travesty. They should be allowed to hurl as many tortillas as they want. But I am really curious, after that big win against BYU, they get College Game Day, they steamroll past the Cougars. What does that team look like in a potential playoff setting? I'll be really, really curious to watch that unfold.
Yeah, and I mean, I sit here and I look at these teams and I look at the structure of it, and to me, Indiana has now we can say this, has the most clutch quarterback in the country. We can talk about what that I don't care if Penn State lost. That throw is an NFL Patrick Mahomes AFC Championship game throw. Is what that
catch too. That catch
the whole thing. A&M, you mentioned, the most balanced. Ohio State, the most talent in the country. So they all have their roles. I'm just sitting here looking at it going, okay, Alabama finds ways to win. So does Georgia. Notre Dame has the best backfield in the country, 2 running backs. I mean, they rotate them out every damn drive. So all of a sudden, you're sitting there going, how do these guys have so many fresh legs? It's because, they both carry the ball 20 or 19 times for 91 yards. And you look up at the score and go, and then you got CJ Carr, who's going to be just elite when it's all said. He's going to be what everybody thought Arch Manning was going to be when it's all said and done. So that team's good, but a freshman quarterback's not winning a championship. So I look around and I'm Texas Tech. These are nice stories, but last year, Ryan, we had what? The national championship game was 6 versus 7. Is that what we had? Ohio State and Notre Dame. I'm trying to find somebody outside of those top 5 that can win it, and I'm struggling. I know people are like, oh, it's wide open. It's wide open. I'm having a tough time. Alabama, Georgia, then those top 3. I don't think Oregon can win it. I mean, they seem flawed. Do you see anybody outside of that top 5 that makes you go, uh-oh?
I'm just laughing over the fact that the seating there, the kids out there are going to love that one because it's 6 and 7. Yeah. So, you said outside of the top 12?
I know. I'm just like,
yeah.
You consider,
yeah. And I love this discussion so much about the G5 spot because I think this year it's especially interesting because the American I haven't checked the standings, but it feels like they're in a 7-way tie. With all the different teams in there, and it's probably going to end up being either I think Memphis might have lost another game, so I'm not sure, but USF's in that mix. I know North Texas. There's some really interesting outcomes there. I think James Madison right now also has a shot to get in. I'm really curious because I think if James Madison gets in, great for them. But I really think, and I came from there, so I've seen that program at USF up close for the last couple of years. That is the most talented roster I think they've probably ever had. And Byron Brown is capable of being a next level quarterback. He's really good. So I'm curious if they find a way to win the American Championship game and get into the playoff. I think that's a team that is very quality. And I told people that back in week 2, as I said, hey, I know that loss hurts, no question about it, but that's not the USF team that was winning 1 or 2 games a couple of years ago. That I had a good feeling that team would at the very least win 8 games, and they've already done that. Outside of them, I kind of want to see Vanderbilt get over the hump to get into the playoff just because I'm a bit of a sicko at heart. Just for the concept of being able to say that Vandy, Texas Tech, and Indiana are all playoff teams. And I think Georgia Tech's really interesting too.
Yeah, and I look at this and where we're going to sit. I'm looking at the projections. What is it? 8-9, Notre Dame, Texas Tech, whatever the 12-5 ends up being. Well, what'd you mention? USF or Memphis, whatever it may, whatever that team is. James at Georgia, and then your debate, Ole Miss and Texas. And then 10-7 is Oregon hosting Oklahoma. I mean, I
just pulled it up. You'd have Notre Dame going to BYU, UVA. I'm not sure if the projections are ranking. Yeah, I think I might be looking at a projection here, but you're looking at something like Notre Dame at BYU, UVA at Ole Miss, assuming they win the ACC. Memphis, I think, assuming they win the American or USF, and Georgia. And then Texas Tech and Oregon. Those are kind of the vibes of the first round playoff games as it stands. And then Indiana, Texas A&M, Bama, Ohio State all getting a bye.
You welcome everybody for the longest time. Wanted parity. You got it.
And you know what? I have always been an expansionist insofar as I think that the parity is good. What I never liked was the concept of like, hey, we're gonna like roll this into potentially like 16, 32. Like I think you can't. It's unfortunate because I think it's a genie in the bottle situation that once you got to 12, it's inevitably they're just going to be like, well, then we can have these playing games. And it's like, all right, at the very least, put them on campus. Like, I do, but I mean, the FCS does 16 and it works. So I go back and forth on it, but I do think at some point you're kind of getting to that edge of like, all right, can this team actually win a national championship, or are we just sort of pulling from the regular season a little bit?
He is Ryan Urquhart. What do I call you? The voice of Gators women's sports? What's your official title now?
I'm not sure. I think it's just play-by-play broadcaster, but you can say voice of Gators soccer, women's basketball, and softball if you want. Yeah. I think that works.
Yeah, you are the how do we want to word this? I'm a big Red Sox fan, so you're the Kurt Schilling to Pedro Martinez. Is that what you are?
Sure.
It's
yeah, that'll work.
The rotation. We'll take that. I know you're a big baseball guy.
I'm in the bullpen. Yeah, I'm in the bullpen.
Bring in you bloody sock, Ryan. People don't know this, but Ryan broadcast a game with a bloody Band-Aid a couple weeks ago. So there we go.
Yeah,
it's very tough. All right, enough of that ridiculousness. PodUp with Matthews in the morning, courtesy of J.F. Hayden Craft Liquors. The Pouncey Twins provide all of Gator Nation with the highest quality liqueurs made by J.F. Hayden Craft Liqueurs. Excuse me. Different pronunciations. Find your favorite, including the mango flavors at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Also, this day in sports history brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union, putting star power to work in your financial life for over 90 years. Campus USA Credit Union. This day in sports history is this day in American history. It's Veterans Day, and I'm not going. That is the highlight of the day, any way that you look at it, and we'll just leave that at that. All right, Ryan, here we are. Gator women's basketball underway, softball. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but what are we looking at? 9 weeks away from first pitch. I mean, it's less than 2 months away. It's hard. It just seems like Halloween was here, but it is. So you cover these sports. I mean, basketball has always been one of those. We're looking for that spark to kick it. And when are we going to finally see that NCAA, not tournament appearance, but run? And softball, it almost seems like Oklahoma City, and you don't want to say this, but is a foregone conclusion almost every year now. Right. It's not the goal, it's the expectation. What do you see here on the horizon? It's your first year at the helm of the anchor of both of these broadcasts.
I'll start with women's basketball on that. Right now, it's exciting. Florida's been off to their third 3-0 start under Kelly Ray Finley. They'll play Samford this Thursday before going on the road to Navy, who's an interesting team because they're the Patriot League favorites, and they come back and play Florida State. Right now, they have who I think is probably one of the best guards in the SEC, Liv McGill. So this is an interesting stat, and you'll appreciate this. Her first 2 games she put up, and let me get the numbers right here because it was insane. 64 points, 19 assists, 17 rebounds, 12 steals in 2 games. I'll let you guess. The last time a basketball player, any level, Division I men's or women's, or professional men's or women's, put together those kind of numbers in 2 games.
Let me hear them again one more time because I'm going to try to find.
64 points, 19 assists, 17 rebounds, 12 steals. In 2 games.
In 2 games. This is Gator or any level?
It's any men's or women's, any level, Division I college or professional.
I'm going to say it hasn't happened, but let's go with, if it has happened, let's go with Alonzo Mourning.
It's a good guess. It was Dwayne Wade in 2009.
Okay.
That's the only other, which, like, to be fair, I'm asking you to pick from the hay bale of a billion basketball players here. But it was 09 Dwayne Wade, the only time a player has put together back-to-back performances like Liv McGill did in her first 2 games, which kind of, I think, is that was a really good poll by our SID, John Maxwell, who gave it that stat. As to just encapsulate how good Liv McGill is right now and how well she's playing. And she's got some good pieces. Miara O'Neal just had her 3rd straight double-double. Also have Layla Reynolds, who came back. So there's a really good core group, Lex Dizacco, that support this team. They have some really good young players. I'm curious to see, can they take that next step forward as the schedule increases in toughness as we go. It's one that's built to sort of gradually get harder, which I think was really smart. And then, with softball, it's the expectation every year, right? I've been to some of the fall ball games. I think Florida fans are going to be really excited by this offense again. They've got some hitters. It feels like they could be 11 deep right now, maybe more. The big storyline with that team is going to be replacing Kendra Falby in the outfield and everything. She in as the leadoff hitter, but Towson Thomas is really dazzled. She made a great catch at UNF. Just stretching out exactly like Kendra would have. And then in the infield, what do they look like, across the middle infield, configuring that. And they've brought back a ton of arms. Keegan Rothrock, Ava Brown are both back, and Olivia Miller. They added in a portal pickup. But ultimately, I think for that program, Seth, as you know, the expectation, like you said, is Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
You never discount Florida to go make a run. It always feels like the amount of times that I've been sitting on the edge of my seat in KSP in a super regional, only for just Tim Walton's group to just find another way. No matter who it is that walks into that building or whether we're on the road. 2022 comes to mind where we're down 6-0 the first game of Virginia Tech. We get rained out, play a doubleheader the next day, and all of a sudden we're blowing them out. And it's funny how things can shift. So I think for both programs, I'm really excited at the potential this year. And it's fun as we get towards the holidays to start really kind of unwrapping this and see what exactly we have.
Florida softball in Oklahoma City always reminds me, and I know it's changed a little bit, Ryan, the last few years, but it always reminds me so much of Michigan State basketball, where it's like, oh yeah, they're in the Final Four again. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. What, the year ends in an even number? Oh yeah, they're back. Yeah.
Right.
It's kind of just one of those things. And the job that Tom Izzo did there, what's he been to, like 11 Final Fours or whatever it is? Death taxes, Michigan State in the Final Four every other year in basketball. I know it shifted, but that's where, Tim Walton's got that. I mean, they're just waiting for that. Yeah. That lightning bolt to strike one of these years again. Had it a couple years.
He's one of those coaches. I have so much respect for him because, when you look at somebody like, I'll use Nick Saban as an example, right?
Yeah.
The attention to detail and the meticulousness and the process is so akin in that Florida softball program. I've seen it day in, day out, traveling with them, watching on the road. Nothing gets by Coach Walton.
Yeah.
I mean, he is as detail-oriented, process-oriented, on top of it. Everything, it moves like a machine in that regard. And it's so fun to watch players go through that program and grow and become better student athletes, better people, and take those next steps. It's really, really fun to watch. That's one of the great joys of this job and that's with all our programs, but that's a really good example of that.
And I'll give you the comp for him. What I think the comp for him is in other sports, when it's all said and done, we're going to look back on the job that he did with Gator softball, like Jim Calhoun at UConn basketball. That's the comp where you're like, wait a second, he won. Whoa, wait, what? It's like, yeah, he won all that.
Right. The amount of SEC titles, World Series. I mean, it's easy to take it for granted. You never do. You never want to, but it's not automatic to go to the World Series every year. There are SEC programs that teeter on regionals and super regionals every year and don't make it to that Women's College World Series. I mean, in my time, we've been 3 or 4. Just off top, I'm trying to remember which one I was there for or not, but I think 4. Yeah, 4. Which is insane in a 7-year run, I think. Something like that. I don't know. Everything's blurry to me these days.
I wonder if he can coach football. But
I'm sure he could.
I know we got to wrap up here. I'm getting just to throw this for a little bit of a curveball. Okay.
Okay.
Ryan, I've been at this a while now. Great. All right. 45. Okay. I've got friends in Kansas City that are on the air.
Yeah.
Talk is out there. If Andy Reid leaves, walks off into the sunset, their target will be Lane Kiffin to replay. I didn't want you. That is to take Patrick Mahomes high off. Just the thought, just something I wanted to share is that's kind. Now look, that team's not winning the Super Bowl this year, so they don't have to worry about it. But if they don't make it, and he's gone at the beginning of, there's a possibility the Chiefs are done before Ole Miss is done, and just.
Does Lane want to go back to the NFL though? I don't know. If there's anybody that's best suited to be the biggest mystery in college football right now, it's Lane Kiffin, because he loves playing to that.
That team,
with like cryptic tweaks. He's probably having the time of his life, that nobody knows what he's going to do. He probably thinks it's the funnest thing in the world.
Yes. He's like, let's see another week. What other beach house can I buy next week with that extra?
Exactly.
Honey, what type of yacht would you like for this lake house? So yes.
How many bedrooms would you like in that bad boy? Okay, I think we make that happen.
Do we want sharks in our aquarium? All right, there we go. He is Ryan Urquhart, a voice of one of the arsenal of the voices of Gator sports, with us here on this Veterans Day. Thanks to everybody that was a part of this. I got to thank Buddy Martin, of course, the QB, Shane Matthews, Ryan Urquhart, Zach Rothrock, everybody involved. And PodUp with Matthews in the morning, coming to you live from the International Diamond Center Studios, locations across the state of Florida, and right here in Celebration Point in the heart of Gator Nation. Ryan, thank you so much for giving me some time here. I know it's been, I don't know if we've ever done this show together. We've done other things together. But thanks so much for hopping on with me here as I come out of the bullpen. Got the day off school today, so, I still got it. Still have it. Just still have it. Not great all the time, but can be great one time. So there we go, Ryan. As always, I appreciate it, and thanks for hopping on today.
Of course. Thanks, Seth. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Enjoy your Veterans Day. So on behalf of Freddie, on behalf of Ryan, on behalf of Buddy, on behalf of Zach Rothrock and everybody involved with PodUp with Matthews in the morning, have a safe and enjoyable Veterans Day.